Hi guys, it's Samantha and I am back today with another Christmas themed Vlogmas video, and I am joined today by Miss Bailey, who is helping me film this little video, apparently, aren't you? You helping? So today's video is going to be facts on 8 different Christmas carols, popular, famous, well-known Christmas carols, and a little bit of history on them. I thought this would be an interesting one to do, as some of them have some rather interesting histories. Bailey decided it was time to lay down, huh? So the first Christmas carol that I'm going to talk to you guys about today is Deck the Halls. This Christmas carol is actually Welsh, and it dates as far back as to the 15th century, but the English lyrics did not come about until 1862. It was actually a folk tune with verses being fit to the song. The verses were constantly changing. It was actually one of those songs where singers would compete with one another, trying to one-up each other by figuring out better verses to fit the song. And as such, later actual lyrics were set to the song, like to be permanent fixture in the song, versus different singers making up their own lyrics. The song, the tune to Deck the Halls, is actually used by Mozart in a violin and piano concerto. The next Christmas song is Sleigh Ride, and one of my favorites. This song was written by Leroy Anderson. It took him 2 years to compose the song, as he wanted to get the exact essence of winter. He wanted the song to just feel like and embody the soul of winter by Bailey. And it took him 2 years to get that exact feeling. He actually wrote the song for the Boston Pops Orchestra, who finally first performed it in, I believe it was 1948. The lyrics for the song were actually written several years after the song was composed by Mitchell Paris. So the lyrics actually weren't originally part of the song. It was also not intended to be a Christmas song. It was intended to be just a song about winter, much like Jingle Bells, and it always annoyed Anderson that it was considered to be a Christmas song. Next up is We Wish You a Merry Christmas. We Wish You a Merry Christmas is actually a folk song from England that dates back to the 1500s. It was a song traditionally sung by peasants back in the day when on Christmas it was tradition for peasants to go to rich people or noblemen's homes to sort of ask for handouts. That was a tradition that was quite popular in the 1400s, and the rich people would listen to these peasants sing the song, and they would usually give them food. Was usually the most common thing that they would give to the poor people. This can be seen in the lyric when they're talking about figgy pudding, and they keep saying, bring it right here. We won't go until we get some, so bring it out here. It is referring to them not leaving until the wealthy person brings them some food of some kind of tongue-in-cheek, a little bit jokey. It is actually believed that the line, and have a happy new year, was added much later, as the Western concept of New Year's starting on January 1st didn't come about until the 1700s in the Western world. So it wouldn't have made much sense back in the 1500s when that wasn't actually considered the New Year, which was interesting. I did not know that. Next up, number 4 is Up on the Housetop. This song was written in 1864 and is the second oldest secular Christmas song, the first being Jingle Bells, which was composed back in 1857. It is also considered to be the first Yuletide song completely devoted to Santa Claus himself, without any other type of winter or Christian themes. It was also the first song to suggest that Santa Claus lands on rooftops in order to access the chimney. Song number 5 is the Christmas song, or Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. This song was written by Bob Wells and Mel Torme. Mel Torme had gone to visit Bob Wells in a hot July day. They were in the middle of a heat wave. When he walked in, he saw the first verse of the song sitting on the piano. He asked him about it, and he says, I was just trying to cool myself off by conjuring up images of winter. He's like, I think you got something. And together, within 45 minutes, they hashed out the entire song. They wrote that song in basically an hour, which I thought was pretty impressive. The first person they also thought of when they wrote the song was Nat King Cole. They had to keep the song secret at the time, actually put it under names, because they were afraid of Bing Crosby getting wind of the song and recording it before they could get it to Nat King Cole. This was an issue because Bing Crosby had realized the success of Christmas songs with White Christmas, and he was always on the lookout for a new popular Christmas song to sing and popularize and basically get money off of. So they were able to keep it hidden, and Nat King Cole to this day still sings one of the most famous versions of that song. Song number 6 is Silver Bells. This song was written in 1851, and it was originally written for the movie The Lemon Drop Kid, starring Bob Hope. The song was actually originally titled Tinkle Bells, and instead of the word silver, it was actually tinkle, until the wife of one of the writers, Jay Livingston, heard this and informed him that tinkle has a double meaning. It doesn't just refer to bells. Yeah, he wasn't aware of that and the way in which children used it, so it ended up becoming a Silver Bells instead of Tinkle Bells. Song number 8, and one of my favorites, is The Most Wonderful Time of the Year. This song was written by Andy Williams and appeared in his first Christmas album. The song was written to embody the spirit of Christmas and time spent with family get-togethers and friends, and often cites many traditions, among which is the Victorian tradition of telling ghost stories on Christmas Eve, as evidenced by any of Charles Dickens' stories. There's a reason why his Christmas stories are a little bit creepy and feature ghosts and goblins. It's because it was Victorian Christmas tradition to tell scary stories on Christmas Eve. This line is scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. And last but not least, the song that I want to talk to you guys about is another one of my favorites. That song is Oh Holy Night. So Oh Holy Night was written by the French poet, and I'm going to butcher his name, so I'll also put it on the screen because I cannot speak French to save my life. Placide Cappeau? I know I'm butchering that and I apologize. If you know how to pronounce that and the way in which to pronounce it, let me know down in the comments. He was requested to write the poem by the local parish priest who wanted a new song to play on Mass for that Christmas. So he, on his ride to Paris, thought of this poem. He wrote it. He was actually using Luke's version of the events of Christ's birth, and he was trying to picture himself and what it would have been like to witness this birth, and he wrote the poem based upon that. He brought the poem to Adolphe Adams, who was a famous classical composer, to write the music. Adolphe Adams complied, and together he wrote the tune for Oh Holy Night. The song was immensely popular in France and was played throughout every single church in France at the time period in which it was written, which was 1847. It was immensely popular until one day the poet Placide, which I'm sure I'm still saying wrong, he ended up becoming a socialist and denouncing all Christian beliefs, and then they also found out that the composer Adolphe was in fact Jewish, and for some reason the church in France denounced the song as not being Christian and they didn't want it sung anymore, but it was still so popular with the French people that they kept the tradition alive and they always sang it. It ended up being brought to America during the Civil War by the American John Sullivan, who was an abolitionist, and he was taken with the song, particularly by the line, "In chains they shall break, for the slave is our brother." Obviously, he was an abolitionist. The song became incredibly popular in the North during the Civil War. There's another legend associated with the song that during the Franco-Prussian War, during a lull in the fighting, the French started singing this song. The Germans on the other side heard it, and they were very moved and touched by the song, that they started singing one of Luther's hymns, and together they ended up declaring a ceasefire over the Christmas holiday. Also, the song was the very first song to ever be played on the radio. Reginald Fessenden, who was a colleague of Thomas Edison, was experimenting with a microphone and a telegraph. And one of the first things he decided to read during this experiment was the gospel. This was broadcast throughout the radio waves all over the world, so people in ships and telegraph offices heard of it. But that wasn't all he did. He decided to finish it off. He was going to pick up his violin and play a song. That song was Oh Holy Night, so it then became the first song to be played on the radio. I thought the legend surrounding Oh Holy Night was quite special. It is one of my favorite Christmas songs, and I just like the history of it. I thought it was quite interesting in how it just sort of kept going throughout all of history. Alright guys, those are my facts on some popular and famous Christmas carols. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of these facts, and I hope everyone is having a great holiday season. So until next time, bye!